I'm back. I made it back. I made it back. I have to celebrate every time I do a video or get a video done. It's just like, y'all don't know how busy a sister be. I am a one busy witch, but I love doing this. I like talking to you guys, and I find it more and more easy. It's getting easier for me every time I do this. So kudos to myself, give myself a little pat on the back. I hope you guys are enjoying your winter. Okay, we just getting started in winter. And so however you celebrated the season, hey, that is up to you. I celebrate like winter solstice or whatever, but it's still a fun time and I enjoy myself. I like celebrating seasons as opposed to just like holidays and stuff like that. So that's typically how us spiritual workers are. But I am not one to judge people for going out shopping and having a good time, okay? Because if you want to spend your money and buy gifts, hey, it is your money, and don't let nobody make you feel guilty about spending your money. Because I don't feel guilty. I went out and bought me some stuff. There's deals out there. Look, I took advantage, and I hope you did too. If you could, but don't put yourself in debt. That's one thing that I do suggest. If you can't do it, don't do it. Just exercise some moderation, like we should. In all things, have balance. So I don't put myself in debt, but typically for myself, I kind of save my money because I know a lot of stuff is going to go on sale around this time of year because that's how they do it in this society. So, yep, and I went shopping. So, I hope you guys spent time with your family as I did. I always spend time with my family, so it's not like a holiday for me. It's just a almost like a typical day. It felt like a weekend. So, yeah. So I had a ball. I hope you guys did too. Um, which is kind of like why I got this headdress on. It kind of reminds me, you guys, of winter. It has a winter look to it. You know what I mean? The branches don't have any flowers on it. It's not like spring, okay? This is like a representation of winter energy, and we consider winter in the cycles of a woman to be like the crone. She's like the dark mother, the mother with all the wisdom, because darkness for us represents a lot of wisdom. So dark is not necessarily just one thing. So when you say dark, people think, oh, evil, just like all light ain't good. Like, and we'll talk about that. But you see how there's no flowers on the branches. It has that winter looking, and I love the symbolism behind the butterflies because butterflies represent life. Everything is so symbolic for me, okay? Everything that I do, it has like a meaning to it, okay? As it should. My life is like poetry. So the butterflies for me represent the dark mother. And as soon as I put it on my head, I'm like, this reminds me of the dark goddess, the dark mother, rather, Lilith. And there's so much demonizing, is the word I'm looking for, when it comes to Lilith. People love to, just like Jezebel, like people never look at the whole story behind things, especially when it comes to women, and when we are not obeying the authority of men, and how it was never ever meant to be that way. So let's talk about that, and let's talk some about the matriarch. So I already know a lot of men are about to get mad, but if you know Yansa Mahala, if you know Kalila, then you know I don't care. I don't mind making enemies, nor do I mind somebody not agreeing with me, because you don't have to, but you gonna respect me. You understand? So let's get started, because I am here to tell, you know, the truth about us women, because we always have men trying to tell our story. That's why it's called his story, because it's his story, not yours. So there's a story of Lilith, and let's just say right now, this is an energy we're talking about. Whether there actually was a Lilith or whatever, I consider these energies to go by many names, and therefore I consider energies to just be what they are, energy, okay? So the story of Lilith, a lot of this is allegory, and it's going to tell you a story about kind of what happened in society. and why this energy is so important for many of us women to have, and why this energy is starting to embrace the earth. And so many men are uncomfortable with it. Okay, that's why we got so much woman hate out there. I'm here for it. I'm here for it, baby. So anyway, look, the story of Lilith was that she was the first woman created. And the reason why we have Lilith and this creation story, and then we have Eve, which is the second creation story, because if you go into your book of Genesis, you're going to see that there are two different creation stories in the book of Genesis, because many of these creation stories that were supposed to be divinely written by the God of Israel are stories that come from more ancient tales, okay? Mostly about Enki and all of this. It's like more ancient tablets that existed before. So you got to think, before there was a KJV, I have to break this history down because a lot of people who watch these videos have no idea, but don't take my word for it. Get your pen and your paper when you're watching Yansa Mahala videos so that you can take notes and you can go back and research things for yourself. Maybe you'll come up with a different meaning, okay? I'm not the know-all, hear-all. So anyway, before there was a KJV, there were many versions of the Bible. One of which was a polyglot Bible, which it was so many different versions of the creation story. You know, they started breaking it down as time went on. Okay, so the KJV was not your first Bible. You had different versions of it. Okay, because different men were stealing other ancient concepts and stories and putting them in the book. So you have two creation stories, one of which, okay, was created by the God or the Godhead. Okay, so you'll see the first creation was created by God. This creation was also told that they were like God themselves. They were created together, male and female, and they were told that they can eat from any tree any tree, period. It was to them for meat. This creation was created to rule as God, okay? So in that creation story, man and woman were typically created as one. They both came from the earth, okay? So in that story, Adam feels, now just check this out, Adam feels as though he was more superior to Lilith, okay? So Lilith was the first creation, quote unquote, of woman. Lilith, and they'll tell the story as if, okay, they're talking about sexual positions, okay? But it's not about sexual positions, it's about something greater. So they'll tell the story as to say Lilith didn't want to be on the bottom during sex, that she wasn't submissive to him. Lilith's approach was, I don't have to be on the bottom because I was created just as you. So your position is not greater than I. Adam's position was, I am above you as the man. Okay, so this is kind of like how matriarchy and patriarchy is, because when you think about it for a moment, in patriarchy, it chooses to assert authority over the woman, which is what all religions do because we are in a patriarchal society. Okay, patriarchal society, men feel like women should submit. So what, and this is what's so cold, is that a lot of women don't understand what the true nature is of submission. Whether you're looking it up out of the Bible, you can look it up in the Hebrew, you can look it up in the Greek, from which this idea comes from. You can also look it up just in a regular English term. And it means to lower yourself to a superior force, a force that is more superior than you. So by default, when you say, I want to be submissive, you're saying that this man is greater in society than you are. And that causes a lot of problems. How is something that can't survive without you greater than you? Every man you know came out of a woman's body. No life is created in the life of a man. A man has to, release his sperm into a woman. Now, men like to say they have seed, but if it was just seed, it would go into a woman and a baby would just create itself. But the fact of the matter, an egg is involved. So he's assisting you with the creation process. How is this person that is alive and on this earth because of you more superior than you? If you notice in the story, Lilith's approach was, we came from the same creator, therefore, I'm not beneath you, and nor will I submit to you. nor will I submit to you. So what did she do? She left him. Okay, this is how the story goes. She left Adam. And many tell the story. You're going to hear so many versions of the story. When she left him, she went to go and procreate, some say, with, some call it a demon or whatever they want to call it, Lucifer. However, she found her another mate. And if you listen to the story, Adam then goes to who? The patriarchal God, and says, this woman won't mate with me. She won't do what I say do. So what does God say? He sends 3 angels to go and threaten Lilith, who chooses not to lay with this man. This is how the story goes, y'all. Listen, when you look up Lilith, this is how they did her, y'all. Look. This is telling a bigger story. Because she would not lay with him, he then threatens her children that she had with this man who she did want to be with. Whether it's Samuel, some people call it, whatever. She had children with him. He threatens to kill 100 of her children each day until she gives herself over to Adam. That is telling you the story of patriarchy. And when a woman leads a nation, okay, typically, okay, with the people who she rules over are considered her children, her sons and daughters. This story is telling you about the forcing of patriarch on a society, and it was done through force, through rape, through taking something from somebody else, trying to force them. Submission was not. If you check out some of the books by Mama Zobi, I hope I'm saying her name right. Sorry, mommy. She is a very beautiful woman that has wrote a lot of books. She's written a lot of books about the matriarchal society, and she says that the African woman, anytime I hear African, I hear the word indigenous. So the melanated woman is the only woman that was born not under the rule of patriarchy. White women have always been under it, but we were born more so free under the mothers. That's why I tell people, a lot of people don't like to research a lot of things, but they even have a ceremony that they do, because one of my bloodlines on my father's side is the Yoruba people. And one thing, when I found out that my father's mother, had that bloodline, I went and checked out some of their, religious beliefs or their spirituality. And one thing, it's a ceremony that they do. I can't quite remember the name of it, but every year or whenever they do it, the men would dress up as women, and they would tell the story of how they took the matriarchy from the women. If anybody knows about, maybe they can, but they would, dress up as women and try to, dress up as women, and they would say it was to appease the mothers. And that's why Ifa is like one of the oldest systems, because it's a system that's based about mothers. Okay, so we had a matriarchal society in Africa. A lot of people don't know that patriarchy did not start with the white man. A lot of the reason why society was taken from women is because of jealousy. Oh yeah, a lot of men ain't gonna like this, but we deal even now in a society where men want to be women, even straight men. I ain't talking about gay men. I'm talking about straight men who want to be taken care of, who want to have that role as a woman, to be worshipped as a woman, as the women were, because of why? The beauty. And men hate the fact that that is a weakness for them, the beauty of women. That's why, if you notice, they will call Lilith mother of the demons, queen of the demons, and demon is supposed to be negative, which we're going to talk about that soon. But there is no queen of the angels, which are supposed to be more of a, notice, no female angels, but women can definitely be female demons. See what I'm saying? That's how we get treated. Name me one angel they called a woman. You got Gabriel, Michael, Leonardo, Donatello, whatever, all of them, okay? Raphael, you got all of them. But you don't hear, LaQuisha, Rebecca, the angel. I'm just trying to tell you, they'll say Lilith birthed the demons, and say that she's a baby killer. She go around killing babies. I mean, all of this because this woman did not want to make herself lower than a man. That's why when women talk about this submission shit, which really irritates me, because you can't take a word that's rooted around something else. Women died because they didn't want to submit or lower themselves to a man, for very good reason. Because a matriarchal society was more about sharing duties. It was more about sharing, because when two women come to the table as rulers, neither one of us want our children to die. We don't want to succumb to war, but the masculine energy is not like that. That's why it's not meant to rule. Two men come to the table, they are not diplomatic. It is who balls is the biggest. That's why since we've been under patriarchy, we've been in nothing but war. Constant war, to the point it has even affected other men. Men are predatory against other men because of patriarchy. It is not the part of sharing in a society. You have to look at biology and the way the body is set up. That's why men had no right being over our spiritual system, because it was not set up that way. Women release a hormone inside of them when they have a baby that makes them bond to their children. That's why many women in society, because men don't understand our bodies, that's why women, we have to start taking more proactive positions when it comes to our health. We let men create pads. Men are often always the ones doing the research on our bodies. That's why for a long time, women were thought to be evil for having orgasms, because we let men teach us this stuff. You got to think this is a part of slavery, but we don't want to talk about that. They'll tell you that it's natural for you to submit, lower yourself. That is not normal. That's why society is out of balance now, because no one should have to lower. In my mind, even the children are important. We're all on an equal. Intelligence is not by gender. It's can you lead? If that's even a child that can lead, then that's what we need to do. If this child is smarter than everybody in the room, then how are we above this child? But that's not how patriarchy is. About taking something, which is what the patriarchal God did. Think about the God of the Bible for one moment. Did he share his throne with any woman? No, he did not. God the Father, which is a male, his Son, which is a male, and a male Holy Spirit. 3 men on a throne. Look at this. 3 men on a throne. How the hell did your God get a son without a woman? Tell me, please. I want to know. See, erasing the woman. That's why the Queen of Heaven, according to the Bible, was demonized. Even if you go into the actual landmass of Israel, we're talking about the actual landmass, Israel, the land. When they excavate that land, it is nothing but images of the goddess, the Queen of Heaven. Even according to the Bible, if you read Jeremiah, I'll list the scriptures down there for you to look. They wanted to pray to the Queen of Heaven because under her was what? Listen to what it's saying. Under her, there was peace. They were baking cakes to the Queen of Heaven, and the God of Israel did not like it because he is a jealous God. That is how patriarchy is. I will not give the woman a place. I will not reverence her as a goddess. She cannot be equal to me. She is below me, beneath me. You never once heard the Queen of Heaven mention anywhere say, I am above God. I am above my male counterpart. He is nothing, because that's not the energy we carry. So when you look at the woman's body and she produces a hormone, okay, that makes her bond to her children. A lot of times women who don't bond to their children, you have chemical imbalances and hormone imbalances, but they don't check that. They don't check that because they're not trying to help you. They would rather call you crazy and say you have postpartum depression, when many of you, your hormone levels are not getting back to the state that they should be in. But it is a certain hormone in a woman's body that causes her to bond to her children. This is something that men don't release, okay? So they don't have the same look as we do. Not saying men don't love their children, not saying men don't, care about their children as much as women do. I'm not saying that, but there's a certain bond that a woman has to her child. It's just common damn sense. Mitochondria DNA that comes from her body, she equally shares it among all of her children. So she gives an equal amount to her sons as she do her daughters, because that is in her very nature to do so. Men only give a certain gene that he passed along to other males. So genetically, he is for other men. more so than most men will ever be for women. But we share. That's what we do. You see what I'm saying? So this is how we ended up. So that's why the dark energy that comes from a woman that refuses to submit or lower herself is always called evil. As soon as you tell men, I don't want to struggle up, all they hear is you hate men. You know, that's why women like me all day long get called a feminist, get called all kind of stuff, which I don't care. Y'all should know I don't care. Cause I love me some men's. I love me some men's, baby. I would never want to live in a world without men's. You think I want to live in a world with nothing but women? Hello, who are you talking to? So, okay, so no, it has nothing to do with that. But I would not lower myself in any society for nobody. So this Lilith energy has to be embraced for our survival as women. Because when we suffer as women, guess who else suffer? Our children. This is why so much molestation is going on. Okay, this is why, and we need to beware of men who are masking under feminine energy. Okay, a lot of these gay men are very patriarchal. That's why they want to take all terms that you use for yourself as a woman and place them on them. That's a way of taking what you are and taking the beauty of being a woman away from you. We can't even allow that. They done closed. I was just looking at this show. They done closed the all women spa because men, see what is happening? It's always an attack on us, an attack on our sexuality, an attack on us twerking. You see what I'm saying? They mad when you twerking and having a good time. Then you talk bad about. Anytime our sexuality is always put on the table. Anything we do is always demonstralized. That is exactly what happened to Lilith and the children that became of her. The daughters and the men. That's why a lot of men that stick up for women and care about women having rights too are always talked bad about by other men. They're called punks, all type of stuff. You notice that other men will get mad when men do what they're genetically supposed to do, stick up for women. They talk bad about them because they're taught that in society, to make pacts with each other and to leave women out. Do you find it fair that the Queen of Heaven couldn't have? What was wrong with that? So you take everything from women. We're supposed to only care about male God, male holy. Nothing comes to us. You see what I'm saying? So that's the same. Even I'm gonna do a video eventually on Jezebel. It's that same spirit of women that rebel against male authority, as we should. Who are you to rule us? You see what I'm saying? It just doesn't work like that. I believe in equity, that everybody's position should be respected in a family unit. That goes for the woman, that goes for the man, that goes for the children. Nobody is beneath the next person. That's how a family structure works. So, I don't believe all of the hype around. So a lot of times Lilith is also called Lucifer. I want to talk about that as well. Lucifer and Lilith can also be interchangeable, okay? Because I personally believe that the war in heaven that is talked about is the matriarch against the patriarch. Because as above, so below. So if we're going through it down here, then it also was happening in the heavens. Okay, so we know that this world is built on something called polarity. So everything has an opposite. That's how we function. You know love because there's hate. You only know left because there's right. You only know up because there's down. There's a down. That's how the world is built. That is called a universal law. Universal law is divine and comes from the creator herself. I call the creator a woman because we are in a womb, and I feel creating is really or creating life is a feminine energy. That's why we say mother nature. Okay, women were here first. You have to know that, and we'll talk about that. Women were here first. Genetically, this can be proven, okay? So one came from the other. But we don't take our creation and say we are above it. We respect it and love it. That is in our DNA as women, okay? So so as I was saying, this war went on in the heavens first. Okay, so that's why when you listen to the story of Lucifer, they will call Lucifer the star of the morning or son of the morning, because morning star. The morning star they're referring to is the star Venus. And we all know, if you look up any type of goddesses or goddess energy or war goddess energy, it always comes from the planet Venus. Okay, because Venus, you can see it early in the morning. It is the morning star because it's called the day star. Okay, and the planet Venus is always associated with the goddesses. The goddess, Aphrodite, or any type of goddess energy. We all say Ishtar, all of them. They always are known by the star Venus and the underworld. Even Lilith, they call her, she's because women are over life and death. Life and death is something that women are over, whether you live or die, whether some woman decides to birth you or not. That's the power that she has. Okay, so sorry, man, that's just how it is. So anytime you see the Baphomet, you'll see that it has breast, it'll have, because it's really also Lilith energy. Okay, and that's why the Queen of Heaven, listen to this, she's called the Queen of Heaven, yet she don't have a spot in heaven according to your religious books. Okay, so when you talk about being, kicked out of heaven, who was kicked out? The Queen of Heaven by your patriarchal God. That's according to your own book. So I believe that they're talking about Lilith. A lot of people, believe that just gives you something else to ponder on. What was this war? It was the war of the sexes. Kicking out the woman, because why? She represented peace. When people want to take land masses, when people start, because it's just energy and how we are. Sometimes in the earth, there was a bunch of feminine energy to where we were more peaceful. Listen to what they were saying in the Bible. They wanted to pray to the Queen of Heaven because she kept them fed and they had peace. But the patriarchal God, it was about war. That's why when you read the Old Testament, he loved the smell of burning flesh. He wanted you to sacrifice animals. Go get your book of Leviticus. Go look in there. Go look in Deuteronomy. Go find out about this God in this Bible. Because most masculine energy is like that. He was about burning flesh. The Queen of Heaven wanted them to burn incense and cake. Okay, so that's allegory. Listen to that. That's saying, so when people want to take landmass and claim them, that's a very masculine energy for people to take landmass and name themselves after it. That's what men do. That's why we're in war. Why do you think we're in so much war? Because people wanting to assert authority over other people. Who does that sound like? Interesting. People who want to say they're more superior than others. So many men that try to uphold patriarchy, they don't understand how damaging it is to them, because that's not creating balance in a society. When you try to kick out somebody else's place or try to lower it, when the truth is, it's the most important role on earth is to be a mother. It's to create life. Your mitochondria DNA is some of the most important DNA. The breakdown of that DNA is the reason why you die. You get more of your genetics from your mother. So this is what happened in society as well. So you have to listen to these stories because they're actually telling you, and this is why men are so mad today. When you bring up Lilith, or they demonstratize Jezebel, or they demonstratize these women, because they don't want women to open their eyes and realize that they don't. So, excuse me, y'all, I'm kind of getting over like a little cold this winter. You have a lot of people that like to clean up the word submission. And you got to understand, that's why when I heard Fantasia talking about submission and all this kind of stuff, and I'm looking at her like, girl, bye. Let me explain to you, because most of these women are coming from a religious standpoint. We all know she's very religious. Now, let me tell you how ignorant patriarchy will have a woman. She is the winner in that relationship. You can clearly see that. She's more popular. We don't know him. Who are you, bro? We don't know you. She's more popular in that relationship. She's the breadwinner. She has made a bigger name for herself. But for some reason, because her man has a penis and two balls, that for some reason she chooses to lower herself and take the passenger seat in a relationship. Ain't no way You know, you should be lowering yourself to somebody don't even have as high as a standing as you do in society. Nobody even heard of this dude until he got with Fantasia. And I'm not saying that that's, but just see how women will do their stuff. And now she wants to call this dude her leader. How so? Because he's a male. You see, it just makes no sense. All that she worked for and everything, she gonna try to put herself, you know, into a lower position. And I have seen this done plenty of times. I remember as a Hebrew Israelite, when I was one, I don't mind talking about it. You know, I used to go to this Hebrew Israelite class. I ain't naming no names, but oh well. I used to go to a Hebrew Israelite class. And clearly this man's wife was way more intelligent than him. She knew all the Hebrew words and Hebrew this and that, and he was sometimes sound illiterate. But because he was a male, he was the head of teaching that class when clearly she was more qualified. See what I'm saying? That's dumb. We, many times as women, put ourselves on the back burner, or we don't fully operate in our gifts because we want to put ourselves just to make this man look better, just to stroke his ego. Because he's male, he has to look smarter than me. This is why in society we missing a lot of information, because a lot of women don't want to step up to the plate. Because you with a man that's holding you back, when he should, if he loves you, he should let you flourish as a woman, as you should let him flourish as a man. So I don't agree with that. All you women talking about submission. No, submission means this. No, that's the problem. When we take words and we try to make it something else because you want to make it comfortable for you to be the fool that you want to be. You know, you're trying to clean it up and give it like brush it off and make it look good. When let's take it for what it is. That's the problem. We keep hiding stuff. We have to understand in society that there was slavery and then there was also being a woman. So even when men were able to buy land or vote or anything, women still was not able to. So they decided to give them a leg up in society. This is why women stayed in a lot of abusive relationships, because they decided to cut women off from finances. This is all a part of patriarchy and how it hurts us. So women had to deal with outside children getting beat, black eyes, whatever they had to put up with. And this is still the case in many societies in other countries. You see Sharia law, you see these things. This is all to keep women from advancing. And why is that? Because their warlike state would have to change. But it's nothing they can do about it, queens. There's nothing they can do about it, goddesses, because this is the time of the woman. That's why your patriarchy worked, because the world was more masculine. See what I'm saying? It's about energy. Now we're going back into more feminine energy. Now, I don't follow society really, but if you even look, it trickles down in society, because look at so many women that are going into politics, that are taking positions of power. And some of them are attacking men. Now, I don't agree with all that. You know, there's the world and then there's us, what we're doing in a spiritual sense. But spiritually, many women are getting out of their shells. They are starting to awaken to their inner darkness. They're starting to understand these goddesses. They are taking their positions. And I feel this is a good thing if we do it right. There is negativity surrounded that. Many women hate men, whatever you want to say. But within that, let's focus on the positive energy that will come from that. Okay? And this is why so many men are so angry right now. So we have to be careful, women. We have to be careful. Your spiritual gifts and things, you're about to be awakened in ways that you never was before. That's why so many of us are able to start businesses. We're empowering each other. We're doing different things to help each other out. We as women have been taught to form bonds with men. Now let's talk about this second creation that was called Eve. Now she was said to have come out of the rib of a man. See what I'm saying? By telling us that story and calling us Eve, that is taking our divinity away from us as women. Do you know why? Because what is divinity? Look up that word, divinity. Divinity is anything that has been made from God, that has directly come from God, or any supernatural force. So Lilith was by default a supernatural force because she came from the Godhead. But when you say that a woman came from a man, that means she didn't come from anything supernatural. She literally came from another natural mere human, Oh, she came from his rib. See how that go? Ain't no man ever carried no child. You see? So you making it all backwards, like women came from men, when it's the other way around. The missing rib is literally the missing leg from the X that made you a man, which is a Y. Your small Y made you a male. Women are two big X's. That is why women carry more genetics. Look it up. That missing leg that makes you a man, which is a Y chromosome, okay? Get mad if you want to. I don't care. Is missing genetics. And some would even say that that Y is shrinking, which I believe so, which explains why there are so many feminine acting men in the world and so many gay men. Why? We're going back into a lot of feminine energy, but you can never take the place of the natural woman. You could be as feminine acting as you want to, that's fine, but you are yourself and we're over here. See what I'm saying? Now we can get along, but you're not me. You're not me. Why? Because the great mother makes no mistakes. And I'm here for a different purpose. So are you. Go find your purpose. Us as women, we have ours. So you can't, like what the Bible say, lukewarm, I'll spit you out. That's how I feel. You either help support us and what we trying to do as women. You see what I'm saying? So if you even really look at the allegorical story of Eve, she didn't even desire Adam. She was cursed to desire him. She was cursed to submit herself under him. Lilith wasn't playing that shit. She like, you're not going to have me. And I don't care if you talking about killing my children. I'm still going to stand my ground. And that's what she did. She stood her ground. And then they began to say she's a baby killer. How is a woman, okay, that went off and had a bunch of children, a baby killer? Your God, according to the story, tried to kill her children. Look how they flipped it on her. See what I'm saying? It's just a demonstratizing way to do women who won't lower themselves. See what I'm saying? It's allegory, but listen, it's a spirit as well. So that's why I wear the black. I don't mind being the dark witch. I don't mind being the one that's going to fight for what I believe in as a woman. I don't mind it. I don't mind being hated by a patriarchal system. I don't care. I really don't. I was built for this. And many of you sisters have been built for this too. And that's the reason why you're embracing your inner rebellious woman. That's the reason why they can demonstrate. And we still twerking all up in the club. We don't give a damn. Because you love it. You're upset because you can't overcome it. You can't resist your urges to look. You can't resist your urges at all. And that's what scares you. That's what really does scare them, that feminine energy. And that's why it's called witchcraft. Glamour and all. Look at that makeup she putting on. That's witchcraft. It sure is. And you have been bewitched. That's why you can't stop looking on Instagram at it. That's why you buying porns to look at it. That's why you buying magazines to look at it. That's why you purchasing it, walking down the street so you can look at it. You see what I'm saying? So call it evil all you want, but you came out of evil and you definitely keep trying to get back in evil. You know what I mean? That's why, like, you born in a sin. I don't care. Because they hate it, ladies. And it's not for us to take our power and abuse it, but we definitely need to look at it from another aspect. Stop letting men make us feel bad about not wanting to be an equal or a partner, especially when we work so hard as women. I don't believe in equality because an apple is an apple, an orange is an orange. We're not men. So no, but I believe in equity. That's what I believe in. I will never be equality. Men can't do what women do. Women can't do what men do. It's just, hey, you know what I'm saying? As far as physically and different stuff like that. But as far as intelligence and sexuality, our sexuality is not evil. And we have to learn to embrace that. Us women have to learn to form relationships and bonds among each other. That's why back in the day, women didn't care about sharing men because the value of men was not there. This was really forced on us, to value men above your sisterhood. You were a sister before you ever was anybody's wife. You was a daughter before you was ever anybody's wife. You see what I'm saying? Our alliance is first to each other, and we have to understand that. The birthing process is something that we all share. A menstrual cycle is something. These are things that men can't. The love for our children is something that we all share. So the dark goddess energy is about rebellion. You see what I'm saying? And I'm all for rebellion. I'm all for rebellion. And look, you guys, look, I want to show you guys something about this Baphomet chain that I got here. Y'all see this? If y'all want one, let me know. Look at that. I want to kind of show you. Oh, it ain't showing up better. If you look at this, I don't know if you can kind of see it too good, but if you look at this right here, that star in the middle, because when I buy stuff, I look at the energy myself and it determines to me what this means. So this star in the middle is kind of shiny, so it's like it's banking off my light. But this star represents to me the star of Venus, you know. And then in the middle, right here in the very, middle, you'll see here, there's a small bumblebee. Okay. And that bumblebee is like, when we're talking about the goddess Oshun, how we're always talking about the bumblebee, that's feminine energy. It's the queen bee. So you see how they'll show you right in the Baphomet chains how that's the Luciferian energy. It's about darkness, because darkness is the energy that women carry. We have the dark womb. And from the darkness, everything is created. Okay. So if you want one of these, let me know. The eyes are red. I'll take a picture of it. You know what I mean? I'm going to start selling these on the website, Crystal Creek Botanical. So any of you sisters that are willing to embrace this energy with me, you know what I mean? The goddess that'll stop, the mother that will stop at nothing to get what we have to get in life, for our children, for our families, to save our families, then that's what we're working with here. That I'm all for it. If that's what we're going to do, got to stop fighting over these men and all this. We got to learn to build a sisterhood. Men don't like that. A lot of these men are so negative. And my hat goes off to men that support us. My hat goes off to men. Look, my headdress goes off to men that are not for this patriarchal standard. I've ran into some very masculine men that take care of their families and stuff, and they're not into this putting women down and placing themselves above them. And I thank you and appreciate you for that. You know what I mean? And most of those men who I do see who do support women, are increased. They're not walking around. It's always these broke dudes talking about submission. You ain't got a pot to piss in, talking about submit up under me. You ain't got nothing. You never hear masculine men worried about women taking over and ruining them. You see what I'm saying? So I really thank, men that are manly enough to understand their roles in society, and also to understand, that women are important. Okay. That's what we want. We want to be recognized for what we are. Beautiful beings that can get very ugly if we got to. The intelligence that we carry, So that's all. I really just wanted to touch a little bit on Lilith. There are so many different perspectives on this story. Like I said, don't let people be so quick. Do your own research and understand that a lot of these stories that you are reading about the goddesses are coming from a male perspective. That's why when they talk about witches, they'll say ugly, old hag. I am not ugly. So, and nor are my sisters out there. I mean, I have met some of the most beautiful women, who are actually born with gifts, So you have to look at where they're coming from. Are they coming from a patriarchal standpoint? Yes. So look at the deeper meaning behind the story. They spun it in a way, to make it seem like this rebellious energy is all negative. Let's embrace the rebellious woman, because without her, we would all be lost, sisters. We would. Our children wouldn't stand a chance. If they could have it their way, we would still be begging for money and begging for bread, like some of our mothers before us had to do. Women lost their lives, and it's the truth. Many women died by the hands of men. So embrace the energy that you have, the opportunity as a woman to speak your mind, to have a voice, to be important, and to demand your respect. Take advantage of that, because there was a point in time where we couldn't do that as women, okay? So I love you all, my spiritual family. Thanks for taking the time to hear me out. Share the video, share it in your sister groups, any groups about the craft. Everybody got their own story. This is not the know all, hear all. As I always say, do your own research and come up with your own ideas. You see what I'm saying? Learn for yourself. And like, share, and subscribe if you haven't subscribed to my channel. Hit the notification bell so that you can be notified when I release new videos. We're going to be talking about some other stuff. My next video will be about what is sin. Okay, so we're going to talk about sin and what it really is from my perspective, and maybe you share the same perspective. Okay, so as always, I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you for watching this far. Some people stopped within 5 minutes. So I ain't trying to hear this, but if you made it this far, thank you. Okay, and I love my sisters out there and my brothers. And I just want to say, enjoy life and, be good to each other as much as you can. Okay. All right, guys. Take care. Bye bye.